So we talked a little bit earlier about the Avengers and how comic book movies aren't really set up to get Oscars and everything like that. Uh, this year and last year and a little bit, it really seems like there's not a whole lot that fanboys can get around, unless you're something of a fanboy towards, I guess, less of the Comic Con type of crowd and more for, if you're like the film buff type of fanboy, you're gonna love the movies like Amour and I'm assuming The Master and so on and so forth. And if you were, like a Broadway fanboy, you're gonna obviously root for something like Les Mis. But
Obviously not.
I'm sorry, I just that for me, there's always a tricky thing when it comes to musical film adaptations. But I'll go into that a little bit later because it's just one of those things that I'm not. I think the whole thing in regards to the Oscars this year is there wasn't enough buzz around the movies that they've chosen. That's what there's only like a few, probably three that I would say there was enough buzz around, which was Life of Pi, Lincoln, and of course Lay Crap.
well,
It would have been better if you played it off as Lay Shiz.
Delicious.
Or Lay Jizz.
That's
Trying to keep it kind of classy.
but the
Like going halfway his nipples.
even
Tony-
a movie
Tony
like
trying to move on.
even a movie like Inception, when that was popping up for the Oscars, that let fanboys really get behind it. And a lot of people, obviously, that were huge fans of Inception didn't expect it to win and stuff. I didn't either. I would have been okay with it winning because I thought it was good, but a movie like that is kind of what we needed for the fanboy perspective, and we didn't get it this year. Almost Django became that movie out of default.
Mm-hmm. No, but it's also because, Tarantino was always, you could put him kind of, he's probably a more well-rounded Kevin Smith, if that makes sense. He's a director that people can really get in touch with. They love his movies, and he's always has that big cult following, so his movies are going to sell. But he's more mainstream than someone like, for say, Kevin Smith, for instance, who's had a few good hits, but everything else has turned into shit. But again, as I'm saying, it's not sort of a fanboys thing, it's a general thing. Whenever anyone I've talked to about the Oscars, they've all sat there and said, well, it doesn't have enough buzz around it. There's not enough films that I've actually sit there and watched or have had enough buzz surrounding them that would make me want to go and watch them. It's like, even when we had a conversation, Tony, most of our conversations usually started with you going, I don't want to watch this film.
Yeah, I try every year to watch everything nominated for Best Picture, and I couldn't do it at all last year, and I only watched about half of them this year.
Mm.
Meanwhile, in previous years, I would watch every single one of them for the most part. So I was really disappointed again.
With Daniel Day-Lewis as well. Isn't it funny that he usually turns up for movies when it's Oscar season?
He's a smart man.
He is a very smart man. He sort of pick and chooses it at the right moment.
I respect his integrity for that, because if he said yes to everything that was thrown at him, it would kind of ruin his image.
Not that. But
I don't know if he has an eye for picking out Oscar bait movies, or if he just tries to challenge himself. Like, I haven't read any interviews. I don't know why he goes for the roles that he does, but I can respect the fact that he turns down a lot more than what he actually does.
Yeah, he's like the bizarro Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage is like, Ghost Rider 8, let's do it.
I'll do it.
Leaving
It
Las
reminds me
Vegas
of
2? I'll do that.
That reminds me of a spoof somebody made. I forget which website, and it was a joke about, like, the guy was Nicolas Cage's, like, agent.
Yeah, it's
and
college.
he'd call him up with all these fucking ridiculous ideas, and I'll do it. That's great. I'll do it. And there's like Schindler's Fist. And then the card cuts to like his agent going, it's literally the same movie with a different name. It's like, it's okay, I'll do it. And then it cuts to the poster saying Schindler's Pissed. And like it was so funny.
And there was one where he's like a talking anus. He was like, yeah, I'll do it.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
That's something that we will never see. Nicolas Cage win an Oscar for Best Actor.
Oh
Nicolas
God, is he
Cage
still
more than
alive?
Unfortunately.
He's
The
never
thing
going
is-
to die.
When he's great, he's great. Yeah, but when he's
He's
shit,
never great, though.
Exactly. Well, not anymore. He's done some,
No.
great movies.
Nope.
Some
Name
stand.
one.
Come on, he has done some standouts.
Name.
Like,
But then
what?
there's everything else that's overshadowed his career.
On a list of Nicolas Cage movies that haven't blown. Or at least
Matchstick
the
Man.
movie can be good, but his performance.
Matchstick Man. Other than that, I have no idea.
Had to
Leaving
pick
Las
one I didn't
Vegas.
see. I imagine he was like this the whole time. I'm Nicolas Cage. I don't know. I can't take anything he's in
Family
ever.
Man.
Like, I had a friend sit me through Vampire's Kiss, and when I
That was
wasn't
terrible.
dying of laughing, it was hysterical.
It's literally the
But-
movies.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
And he can't literally like. The whole thing is him screaming. Oh, I've been.
He
Oh,
has
it's
a-
disgusting. I don't want to drink that.
He just it's for those who don't know about the movie, it's basically just a movie about a man who has a psychotic break, and it's the only time he's ever been believable because I bet that man is 100% out of his fucking mind.
I haven't seen the full movie, but that one, The Wicker Man.
Oh god.
Not the
It's funny.
bees, not the bees. Oh no.
I watched that movie. I watched that movie because I heard how hilarious it was, and like so me and my friends are watching this movie and we're like falling asleep, and then it gets to the end where he's finally on to everything and he fucking like punches this bitch in the face because it's this weird community full of like nothing but women. And so we're laughing because the scene was hilarious. And then my one friend goes, dude, just turn it off. That's probably the only time it happens. And literally the second that's out of his mouth, we see Nicolas Cage running full speed in a bear suit.
Yeah.
And he comes out of nowhere and decks this other woman in the face. It suddenly became the greatest movie ever. But no, I'm just kidding. It is horrible.
It's
If
really
you
I
bad.
ever
laughed
say,
so hard I shouted.
just wait, just watch the last like half hour. That's all you need to see. Fucking drop
It's
kicks a
literally
bitch into
him
a
getting
wall.
tortured. He's supposed to emit this whole sort of like anguish and screaming in pain, but instead it's laughable because when you, especially with the comment, not the bees, not the bees, ah, ah.
Oh, the bees. Oh. God.
The
Can't
only way
wait.
the movie could have been better was if Russell Crowe screamed all the songs.
Just in the background singing, not the bees.
Please God save him from the bees.
Oh god, I'm gonna faint in a second. I'm laughing so hard. Ugh.
So, what movies are going to be coming out this year that you're excited to see, and that you think beyond just this is going to be kind of cool? What do you think actually has like potential to have any kind of presence whatsoever in the Oscars for next year?
I think
Hmm.
Iron Man 3 maybe for visual effects. I mean, I think Iron Man's been nominated for visual effects before, hasn't it? Maybe for in some award ceremony.
I don't know off the
But-
top of my head.
I doubt
I mean,
it. I doubt that Iron Man's been nominated for an Oscar. Otherwise, I probably would have remembered it. I'm a huge Robert Downey Jr. fan.
I mean, I don't think it won. I think it was nominated. Hold on, let me look this up.
I don't know.
It might have been nominated. I know the second one probably wasn't.
No, but I'm looking forward to Iron Man 3 as well, but I don't think it's going to generate any buzz, which is unfortunate because, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is perfect for Tony Stark, but
One movie I think could get, at the very least, a nomination, if not a win, for Best Visual Effects or Cinematography, or both, is Star Trek Into Darkness.
Doubt it.
You think that they're not going to like all the little lens flares?
Yeah, the problem is, as you've so, astutely pointed out, I feel at the moment that the Oscars are for, how can I say this without sounding like a rude, pretentious git? They're full of stuffed shirts. The ones that sit there and like, oh, that movie is so amazing. The ambience is so great, and look at his portrayal. It's also
It's pronounced
The
ambiance.
ambiance. Yes.
Ambiance.
But anyway, just to interject,
Ambulance.
Iron Man was nominated for Best Visual Effects in 2008, and subsequently in 2010, Iron Man 2 was also nominated again.
Oh.
There you go.
Interesting
Iron Man
enough,
1
that
also was a best sound editing too. I'm reading.
yeah, so
I just got Schooled by Tuck and Sean.
exactly. And so, interestingly enough,
Wikipedia.
in 2010, Inception won for visual effects. So, I mean, I guess that's
it fucking
close
deserved
to-
it after that fucking town started getting all twisty.
yeah,
That fruit stand exploded. That blew my mind.
it was like I was on
nonsensical
acid.
ending that no one could actually understand, but that was
Actually,
Um,
movie was
I'll
kick out.
talk about it later. I don't want to go off on a tangent talking about a theory I read about Inception. We could save that for after the
For
show.
after we stop recording it. One movie that I could see being a sleeper for Best Visual Effects is After Earth. That's a movie with Will Smith and his son. I can't remember his name.
Can you
Jaden
stop
Smith?
procreating
Jaden, yeah.
and putting his kids in movies? I've got a funny feeling we're going to see Smith grandchildren in movies eventually.
Welcome to
He-
After
he-
Earth.
He's pimping them out. They're all in movies.
He pimps his whole family.
Yeah.
And all they do is whip their hair back and forth.
Man of Steel is coming out. I don't think that that's going to get anything, really.
No.
You know what? I can't wait for that. I'm waiting in bated breath for that movie because I want to see the new sort of darker take on Superman. Not the way they depict him in the DC Comics universe as just being a prick.
And another comic book movie that's coming out that I don't think is really going to end up making any splashes whatsoever is Kick-Ass 2. So that's something that, at the very most, it could maybe they create a song for it and it gets nominated for Best Original Song. I don't think it's even going to
Kick-Ass 2! Kick-Ass 2!
Russell Crowe specifically going to be signed on to sing that. In regards to that, it's going to be a little guilty pleasure, I think, to watch that movie. If you've read the comics, if they stay in tone with the comics themselves, it's going to be completely and utterly fucked up. It's going to be enjoyable.
Well, three other movies that are coming out that fall under the kind of the fanboy thing are Wolverine, Lone Ranger, and Thor 2. And
Is Thor 2 slated for this year?
it's
No, I think
November.
Yes.
Was November? Oh,
No?
I thought it was supposed to be this year's November.
I kind of hope so. That would be kind of cool. I'm really interested to see Christopher Eccleston as.
Yeah, it's November 8th, 2013. So yes.
Cool.
So that is something I could see definitely being nominated for costume design, because
Oh, yeah.
they're going to have, the whole Asgardian kind of situation with the Dark Elves and a bunch of other worlds. And, of course, the other, the sound editing and all that. All the technical kind of sci-fi type of awards. Obviously, we're not going to get, best supporting actress, what's her face from Kat Dennings, or none of these movies are going to do that. You're not going to get Hugh Jackman got nominated for best actor this year. He's not going to win it for Wolverine.
Best sideburns in a motion picture.
He's going to lose this somehow.
best character played all the time, at the same time. Every time. Even at Epic Meal
It's fine.
Time.
At least he's sticking to it. He's not like fucking Chris
No,
Evans
you know what?
trying to play the entire
One thing I
Marvel
rate him on
universe.
is sticking to that character, because that character itself is awesome. and his portrayal of it is awesome. So
he does do a fairly good job, and it was early enough in his career that it brought him a fair amount of recognition. So it's kind of nice to see him be so faithful to something that helped spread his image as widely as it had.
Yeah, even to do something as simple as the little "go fuck yourselves" cameo. Everybody went nuts
Best
about that.
cameo.
That was so good.
Best
there
go
any
fuck yourself in a motion picture?
Any other movies that I haven't even... I know that there's a lot that I haven't even thought about, but that you guys know of that look like they could be a Best Picture category winner or anything like that coming up? I haven't heard any buzz whatsoever.
Well, there's this... Well, maybe just because I'm Asian, but there's this movie that's supposedly coming out called Old Boy, and it is based on a Korean... like a very famous Korean movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I've seen the original.
It's one of my favorite movies.
It is the most fucked up film I've ever seen in my life, and it's just it's about this guy who is kidnapped, and he's in this room, and he's confined there for like 20 years or something. It's an insane amount of time, and then he gets put out into the world one day randomly, and it's just... There's violence, and it's a really interesting story, and I think it just has enough shock value behind it, and the fact that it was so big in Korea that it could be nominated for something like Best Picture.
I heard that it was dead
on a foreign film. They end up turning gold into shit.
I wish this project had stayed dead like I heard it was, because I have nothing but the utmost respect for the original, and it's the only of the 3 Revenge trilogy movies I've seen, unfortunately. I do plan to rectify that eventually, but the original Old Boy is a masterpiece, and I mean that in every sense of the word, because the story is interesting and engrossing, and the direction is fantastic, and the cinematography is fantastic, and there's one particular scene where if they do bring it to America, that they better keep the scene in its entirety. The titular character of the movie, he gets in a fight in a hallway, and it's all shot in one take. It's kind of like watching a video game. It's all from the side. You see it fold out in like 2 dimensions. The scene lasts like a good 10 minutes of him fighting off like 30 people. And at one point, he's got a knife in his back, and he leaves it there, and he starts beating their asses all over again. And it's a masterfully made movie. And if anybody listening hasn't seen Old Boy, last I checked, in America anyhow, it's currently up on the Netflix instant stream. So watch that as soon as possible. And talking about fucked up Korean films, if you haven't, I recommend watching I Saw the Devil. It's another sort of revenge film that's just fucking amazing.
I have not heard either of these two.
Yeah, I would agree. I would go back and agree with Michael where he said that, foreign films don't always translate really well when Americans remake them. For example, the example that I will always bring up is The Departed, which the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and I forget who, but it was a remake of a Hong Kong film called Infernal Affairs, and the original was it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And then I saw The Departed, and I was like, this is an utter piece of shit. Like, I think there's a certain element that Americans bring into movies sometimes that doesn't really translate over well when you try to bring these sort of movies over to the US. So, I mean, you may be right about Old Boy also, and they might fuck it up, but,
They have this whole potential of shitting on these movies, and the reason why is because of the creative process. They get someone to rewrite it who then has no understanding of the core material. They end up rewriting it and then turn it into something which it shouldn't have been in the first place, and the producer gets a hold of it. Then there's more redrafts going on, and instead of staying true to the core material, they instead put out something that's sort of partially familiar with it, but it's not the same movie.
Right.
And that's what leaves it in a situation that you have where the movie just doesn't it doesn't translate well.
I mean, literally, something gets lost in translation. So
That's straight. Look at The Grudge. Oh my god, I shouldn't even mention that movie. That movie was terrible.
Please don't.
Well,
do not mention that in my presence.
I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes right now for a list of upcoming movies, and some of the other ones that are standing out in my mind. Oz the Great and Powerful. That is definitely that's definitely a movie I can see being at the forefront for a lot of the visual awards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On par with Alice in Wonderland and anything for the most part that's like Disney related. That it might be the movie that wins a lot of that stuff right off the bat. Of course, it could be terrible. And it could be a terrible movie and it doesn't even matter, because if they think that the makeup's really good, then it wins for best makeup and doesn't have to get nominated for anything else. But another one is The Croods. It seems like that is a possible contender for best animated film. Although what's funny about that is I think
doubt it.
Well, yeah, it's one of those ones that's going to have the DreamWorks machine behind it and all that. I wouldn't be surprised if it got nominated. I don't know really much about it. Apparently, Nicolas Cage is one of the main actors that it does, so we might...
Don't. Isn't Despicable Me 2 coming out next year?
Yes.
I really like the first one, so I mean, I think that might be Steve Carell, some big names in that too. So, and that is sort of like a Disney, right, thing. So they've got a lot of weight behind them. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not a Disney movie though.
Obviously, G.I. Joe Retaliation for Best Director.
If The Rock was the best fucking actor in anything, I will literally shit myself and die.
But there's not a whole lot that's standing out right now from just a quick glance that I can see. Now, that's, of course, skimming through this really fast and everything, but...
Sorry, isn't The Hobbit coming out December next year, maybe, or is that too late for it to be considered for the awards?
No, that should be fine for it. That should obviously get nominated for like visual effects and everything like that.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't get like makeup and costuming. I mean, they were nominated, but I haven't seen.
Yeah, they might have done that. Sure. It might have just been like, this is fucking awful.
Sure, it did. I didn't see it, but
best way to stretch out.
Don't.
It's everything that people who were like about Lord of the Rings before. It's everything that you don't like magnified and none of the good stuff.
Which is a shame too, because the Hobbit was my favorite Tolkien story out of the ones that I've read. I loved The Hobbit so much more than The Lord of the Rings, and they've kind of, from everything I've heard, they've kind of took a knife to what made The Hobbit great, which was that it was kind of small and it was humble and it wasn't a grand epic.
Yeah, it's because he's stretching it out, and that's what the worst part of it. And I think a lot of it's due to studio pressure, because they want the next Harry Potter, basically. Yeah. The next movie that can, dilute itself into a franchise. So they're doing it this way, which is kind of sad. But again, I agree with Tony. I think what we're going to see for next year's Oscars is probably going to be the same what we saw this year. Is you'll see a slew of films coming out just beforehand, and they will get nominated and stuff that we haven't seen because they're just widely underpromoted.
It'll be a political thing. It'll be something about a period piece. You'll see
someone on their period.
A book.
Kate Winslet, probably.
Looking at the list, what do you guys think about The Great Gatsby that's coming out?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that could end up being one of those movies.
That's got one of my favourite Indian actors in it, Amitabh Bachchan. So he's in that. He's in the trailer and he goes, "He's the Great Gatsby." And Leonardo DiCaprio come out. Sean always reminds me of that when he gets in his pervy voice.
Yeah, Gatsby. I completely forgot about that. It's a good point, Tuck. That could be one of those movies that really is like the sweeper kind of thing. Gets like
Hopefully
10
DiCaprio
fucking
wins his
nominees and
Oscar
stuff.
that he wants and so generally craves.
I don't know. Is there anything else that
I'm still heartbroken over Old Boy. Apparently, according to IMDb, it's starring Josh Brolin.
Oh God.
Uh,
And so it begins.
Please kill me.
So I think Fast and the Furious 6 might win for Best Picture. Hangover Part 3, that should be a shoo-in for Best Director, you know.
I can't wait for Too Fast, 7 Furious.
You know, the one thing I have to say about The Hangover, I was so disappointed in The Hangover 2. It had some great gags.
You
but
mean
the
The
film
Hangover 1 in Korea or wherever, or Thailand or whatever it was?
It literally was. It was it was The Hangover 1 in Bangkok, but the resolution that they put at the end of the movie just pissed me off.
Oh,
'Cause
the
it was a
mattress is at the
stupid
top of the
resolution.
hotel.
No, it's just like it's one of those things where you have to watch the film to understand why it just didn't work.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so
I can imagine
third
exactly why it didn't work.
Well, without a
kind of
doubt,
bummed.
one of the movies that's going to be terrible and not get nominated for anything is going to be the next Scary Movie.
I'm gonna
God,
see
there's
that though.
still
Charlie
making
Sheen, Best
those?
Actor
Charlie
2014.
Sheen, Lindsay Lohan, Best Supporting Actress.
Maybe
Yep.
under the Razzie Awards.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, if there's anything that we've learned for the past few years, it's that even if a comic book movie or something along the fanboy perspective would come out and be that great thing, I mean, we're all excited about Iron Man, we're all excited about Man of Steel and all that, but even if it would be very, very good, that it would get snubbed in some way. And as popular as these things are, we're still not at that point where it really has much respect. And it might take, maybe even another 10 years or something like that before it happens.
My
I don't
only
see it ever
advice
happening.
to those in the Academy of Arts and Science is they need to stop rushing with the Oscar picks. That's the one thing that peeved me this year, and continues to peeve me, is the fact that they literally rush for considerations because they don't. There's certain movies, as you said, Tony, that they will allow and won't allow, and certain movies that they avoid like the plague because they don't want to be associated with that. And for me, I would rather have it as an open book. If I was like the person running the Oscars, I'd say, right, what did well? What can we actually do to choose these categories and to make it fair? Rather than saying, okay, let's wait for this. Oh, look, we're going to have some period pieces. Let's have this little piece where someone's going completely and utterly insane. Let's add some cartoons that, for best animation that are just there. Instead of actually just, associating themselves with stuff that people want to see. And that, people will say, oh, look, you know what, that got nominated for best film. Let's go and see it. Or, yeah, that was nominated for best film. That was excellent. And nothing at the moment speaks, volumes like that, which is sad.
Was there any other topics that you guys wanted to touch upon?
I would briefly like to say that if anybody out there has a sniper rifle and can stop this production of Old Boy from being made, I may have some money for you. Just be kind of quiet.
I would just like to make the statement that I am in no way associated with this scheme at all.
Oh, I'm telling him it was your
Going
idea.
on record.
He's associated with it in spirit.
You're gonna forge some private messages back and forth, and
Tuck's cleaning his gun right now.
Cleaning it and stroking it very carefully.
That wraps us up then for the fourth roundtable discussion meeting. The only thing left to do is throw some plugs out there. So I'll do the last one. Who wants to go first?
I'll do it. So, hey guys, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, or if you're hearing this later, it was New Comic Book Day on Wednesday. So, there's some great stuff coming out, a bunch of Uncanny stuff, Uncanny X-Force, Uncanny X-Men, Uncanny Avengers, I believe.
A lot of uncanny things.
So a lot of just strange and wonderful things. Also, Witch Doctor from Image is coming out, one of my personal favorite comics of all time, so check out that review. Yeah, and I'll be back every Wednesday with more reviews.
The posting machine.
He's like carrying Fanboys Anonymous at the moment.
Yeah. Sean, go next.
Shoulders.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, I'm gonna just eat some chips and get fat tomorrow. So,
Post a video about it.
I don't know that I can do that. Face my shame and put it on the internet.
Why do you bug me so?
Oh, God. Only if Russell Crowe will come and narrate my actions. Right now, he's opening a bag of crisps.
Chris.
Nice attempt using the crisp thing instead of code.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And a Mr. Burhan.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I would sing it in Russell Crowe's voice, but I'd end up taking up the full podcast. I'm currently nerdgenius.com, and everything Michael Burhan related is basically joining up for the next 6 days with a company called vpn.sh. So if you guys want to actually check out their site, it's www.vpn.sh.com. So check that out. They do proxy IP addresses. So basically, if you want to keep your IP address safe and secure, and you don't want your internet service provider and government officials looking at what you're actually looking at, for as cheap as £2 a month, you can actually get yourself a nice little proxy ID, and it's all safe, it's all secure, and these guys are awesome. So go and check it out. And also, I'm making a movie at the moment, hence the reason why I'm slagging everybody else off. I'm doing the U-Bowl technique.
Sucking?
Slagging everyone else off to make myself look good, but then look like an idiot.
I'll fight you.
It's a zombie apocalypse movie, and it's a musical, believe it or not. So I'm doing a Kickstarter campaign, which is going to be launching at the end of the week. So watch this space on that. And also check out my official site, www.nerdgenius.com. And me and Sean also do some kind of podcast thingy when he's not getting fat and eating chips.
Word.
So, we're usually actually at the same time. So check that out. It's called I Got Gameplay, and that's also associated with Fanboys Anonymous because I can't write for shit. So Tony, take it away.
I totally concur that you can't write for shit.
Good luck with that musical.
Obviously, everything at the end of this video is a Mango Tree related. The Out on Limbs and Smark Out moment for you wrestling fans out there. Bleacher Report, comicbookmovie.com. You can check out that kind of stuff. All you have to do is look up the Tony Mango name, and you'll find everything, including Fanboys Anonymous itself. We are going to try to add more segments to Fanboys Anonymous, including possibly, I'm not sure when we're going to do it. We might be doing it before the next monthly episode of the podcast, but we might be doing a commentary track segment where we pick maybe an episode or two of a TV show, or maybe we do a full movie, something along those lines, and we all get together, we all watch it at the same time, we all give commentary.
Just watch Tony through his own webcam.
Either one. I mean, if you want to provide that video, then maybe it'll happen.
I have videos.
So pay attention to Fanboys Anonymous, because things are going to heat up even more than they already have in the past few months. That is it for episode 4. We will see you next month with episode 5, and we don't have a topic quite yet, but stay tuned to the website and you'll figure it out eventually. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and we will see you next time. This meeting is adjourned.